Hello and welcome to Talking About Success. I'm Jack Canfield, America's #1 success coach, chairman of the Canfield Training Group, and the author of numerous New York Times bestsellers, including the Chicken Soup for the Soul series, and most recently, the Success Principles, how to get from where you are to where you want to be. And my guest today is Lisa Garmon, and Lisa is an influential visionary in climate transformation and calming our earth, as well as a pioneer in using umbilical cord stem cells to heal adrenal insufficiency and type 1 diabetics. And prior to doing climate work, she was a holistic health and sex educator. Lisa has also been married for over 50 years and has 2 grown children and 2 young grandchildren. Welcome, Lisa.
Welcome to you, Jack. I'm happy to be here.
Well, I'm happy to have you here today. Now, you recently wrote a book called Love More for Climate Transformation, How to Stabilize Your Climate and Calm Your Earth. So tell us a little bit about the book and the message you share within it.
In Love More for Climate Transformation, I teach you how to do the work that I do. My work revolves around the powerful fusion of unconditional love, compassion for all life, the power of your imagination, strong magnetic intentions, all while connecting to God.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
And this work, which is unique, I call soft technology. And when you combine soft technology with hard technology, we saved the Thwaites Glacier. The Thwaites Glacier, the Doomsday Glacier, requires cold water. And man, if we hadn't slashed those over-the-top heat waves in 2023, our Thwaites Glacier would be melted and we wouldn't have our beaches. We need to do this work. We need more people to do this work.
Now, that's a wild claim. Tell us more about how you do that.
Wow, it is a wild claim, but...
I know you do it. I just want you to explain it to our viewers.
Yeah. Well, the first 3 chapters are all about how to grow in compassion for all life. And that is absolutely essential to do this work. Mm-hmm. So you must expand your love. And we stay close to spirit. When there's a massive heat wave, we wield the sword of spirit and slash it. We literally slash that heat wave. And in one day, we can bring 120 degrees down to 91. We've done it. We've done it. When there was a heat dome that blew in from the Sierra Desert across the Atlantic Ocean and hovered over the Virgin Islands and southern Puerto Rico. And it was threatening 110 degrees in the Virgin Islands and 120, which is unlivable in southern Puerto Rico. And we were able to slash that down to 89 in Virgin Islands and 91 in Puerto Rico. And we did it in a day. We just, when you wield the sword of spirit and you have the power. What I love about this work, and I just recently fully understood it, is that AI can never take over our work. They can't do it because nothing artificial can connect to God. You have to be a human being. You have to be human to have the capacity to wield the sword of spirit. Mm. And you have to be human to connect to spirit in that way. And so our job is safe.
I'm worried about AI. So when you say we did it, who's we?
I have a support team. I work with my support team.
How many people?
3 to 5 people normally. Mm-hmm. There's always someone dropping out, and then I add someone. Mm-hmm. I'm down to 3 at the moment, but...
And they're trained in this work that you do. You've helped them develop it.
I train them. Mm-hmm. I train them, but I only put people who are on a high spiritual level in my team. Mm-hmm. They're already there. I don't have to they're already on the level of unconditional love. And so what I do is I guide them. And they mostly take care of me. I need help sometimes. It gets overwhelming.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of climate out there.
Oh, there's a lot going on.
Now, you obviously have more loving, compassion, connection, spiritual connection to nature than most people, I think. And how did that develop?
Well, when I was 10 years old, I remember, this is the first experience I can remember. There was a massive hurricane in Pine Point, Maine, and my dad came to pick us up because the police told us we had to evacuate. As we were driving through the Scarborough Salt Marsh, the rain was coming down in sheets, and the water covered the road. My dad couldn't see the road, and it was just a straight road through the largest salt marsh in the world. My dad went off the road, and for the first time in my life, I heard fear in my dad's voice. The water came up our windows. I saw the water was like this. And I turned to God and said, Father, help me guide my dad back on the road. And I did it. I used my marvelous mind and I guided my dad back on the road and we drove home safely. And I have no idea how I knew how to do that at age 10, but the water didn't scare me. Having fear in my dad's voice really scared me because my dad was the rock. And to have him be afraid really, that upset me. I had to fix that right away.
And how did that evolve from that awareness that you asked God for that help, you got the guidance, you were able to do it, evolved into what you're doing now? What was it? Was there some awareness at that point or decision you made?
One of the things I learned from that is to always ask in times of trouble and make your ask reverent. You must ask reverently. Ask for rain in times of severe drought. Ask for the rain to stop in times of flooding. You must ask. And that's the big thing I learned from that. That anything can be done when you connect to spirit. If you're reverent and sincere and you ask. People don't ask enough.
I think that's true. Both horizontally and vertically. People don't ask enough. They're afraid to ask. Feel uncomfortable asking. Yeah, interesting. So in your book, you discuss about the importance of mindset. It's an environment as well as physical environment and how they're both important. You talk about that a little bit?
Mindset gives me the ability to focus. It gives me the ability to do the work. You have to be on a high spiritual mindset. And you have to do this work daily. There isn't a day goes by that I don't take care of my mindset. It's that important to me. It's constant. I wake up in the morning and I praise God. First thing out of my thoughts, praise God. I'm so grateful I'm alive again because not everybody wakes up in the morning.
Right.
But I'm grateful. And then I pray for my family, and then I meditate. And I meditate again in the afternoon. And these practices keep me on that level of unconditional love.
When you meditate,
nourish me.
Yeah. When you meditate, how do you meditate? There's so many different forms of meditation.
Oh, I use HoloSync from Centerpoint, and I write about it in my book. I list all the meditations from them that I love and how I use them and why. I do a whole chapter on meditation in my book.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, I like the HoloSync work. It's good.
It's very powerful.
Yeah. So you also are a big user and advocate for stem cell therapy. And talk about how you got into that and why it's so important from your point of view.
Oh, I love stem cells. I can't wait to have another IV. Stem cells, I was so weak from type 1 diabetes. The worst complication is adrenal insufficiency. And oh man, I had to sit after walking 20 feet. I'd have to sit and rest.
Wow.
I'd have to sit in the middle of cooking a meal. I'd start it, I'd sit, come back, do a little more. I'd have to sit before taking a shower, have to rest. And that gets boring after a while.
Yes.
Well, I want to tell you this story because it's true. And my first stem cell clinic was in Medellin, Colombia, and the hotel for BioAccelerator was here, and the clinic was over here. And I had to walk maybe a half mile to get to the clinic. I stopped every 20 feet and rested. Every 20 feet, I'd rest. And my husband the whole time is, why don't you listen to your endocrinologist? He's told you stem cells are dangerous. Why are you wasting your money? They're so expensive. They always had something to say at every rest stop. Well, when I had my first IV and we went back to the hotel for lunch, I raced back. I couldn't walk fast enough. I didn't stop and rest even once. I said, I'm alive. I love it. Oh my God, it was so different for me. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know that everybody has these experiences. First off I think you have to have a good mindset. And I do 3 things with stem cells. When I know I'm going to have them, I start welcoming them. I welcome them into my body, and I welcome all the good that it's going to do for me in my life, my body. I welcome my stem cells wholeheartedly. And then when I have the IV, I love them. I even kiss the IV before I hang it up. I love them. I love them like I loved my newborn infants, because these are coming from the baby. These are umbilical cord stem cells coming from the newborn baby. They are pure and they are so lovable. So I love them. And then the third thing I do is I guide them. I guide them where I most need them to go. And for me, I guided them into my kidneys and my adrenals. And wow, it was like going from half dead to being fully alive. It was like if you see a plant and it's hanging down like that, and then you water it and it comes up. That's
Right.
how I was. And I came up. So I can't wait to get more stem cells.
Talk to for just a moment the difference between umbilical stem cells and those that are not umbilical stem cells.
Yeah, because that's important. There are 3 things you want to look for in stem cells. I did a lot of research before I did this. I learned about stem cells from Tony Robbins' book, Life Force, which I recommend to everyone.
Yeah, I've read it.
Tony Robbins and Dr. Diamandis and Dr. Hariri. Well, I picked out of all the wonderful modalities, healing modalities in that book, stem cells really jumped out at me. That was what I intuitively knew was the right one for me. So then I did research, because Tony doesn't tell you the name of his clinic. There are like 3 in the Philippines. So I had to do research to find the right clinic, which I did. And then I learned that you have to have a clinic. You want umbilical cord stem cells because placenta stem cells can have the toxins and bacteria from the mother, whereas umbilical cord stem cells come from the infant. They're pure. They're newborn. And they've never had anything tested negative in them. They've always been pure, and they test them all the time. So That's one thing that you want, umbilical cord stem cells. And you want a clinic with a lab attached to it. You have to have a laboratory right there. Most stem cells today they're processed frozen, and they thaw them immediately before putting them into your body. And that's okay. It's okay to have frozen stem cells. You can't always have a pregnant mother on tap. So right. You have frozen stem cells. It's all right. It works. Mine have all been frozen. But you want to be there where the lab is so that you get the stem cells minutes after they're thawed. Mm-hmm. Minutes. Every minute that goes away, the stem cells are less potent.
I see.
You want them immediately. So that's the most important thing, is to have a lab. Don't go to a stem cell doctor that says, I'm sending it to, 3 hours away, I'll get it back in 2 days. Right. That happens. I know clinics like that. But no, you want a stem cell clinic that has a lab right there and gives it to you immediately. You want the German protocol. The Germans have figured out the very best way to do stem cells. Cool. So you always want the German protocol. I don't remember the entire German protocol, but that's what you want to ask for.
Okay, good. So when you talk about stem cells, you talk about mindset, you talk about client, how does all that fit together for you?
Well, when you feel fully alive, everything lifts up. Mm-hmm. Your mindset is stronger. Your love of life is stronger. Everything.
So we're sitting here. Unfortunately, all these shows have a time limit, and I've talked to you forever because you're so full of life and you know so many things. You've studied so well. But what do you feel, if you had one major message you want to leave people with that you want people to know, what would it be?
Stop complaining about the weather. And be grateful for rain as well as sunshine. Oh, there's so many places in the world in severe drought. Mm-hmm. Oh, be grateful for rain. I quote in my book Oprah when she says, "It's one of those dark, foggy days that I love so much." I mean, that's we have to shift our way of thinking and be grateful for whatever the weather is. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that we can't ask for sunshine and for rain and droughts and to stop the rain and flooding. We can ask. We can be fervent in what we need. But for the most part, if people would stop complaining about the weather, we would have better weather. People are using their marvelous minds in a negative way, and it hurts the climate. It hurts the planet. We need to be more careful.
It's interesting. We talk about the law of attraction and what you complain about, you get more of.
Yeah.
But I never associated that with the weather before. This is really good. Yeah. It's interesting. Well, we just had a lot of rain here in Santa Barbara where we're recording this, yes. And we needed it, Yeah. And it definitely caused a little bit of landslides and things like that. But, it comes with the territory. But, and I often thought about it. I went to school in Boston, and it rained a lot. It snowed a lot. It was cold a lot. Mm-hmm. But I remember thinking that until air conditioning, there were no great universities in warm climates because you'd rather be outside than inside. So the benefit of that was we got to study more. We got to go inside and take advantage of that part of the weather. So that's interesting. Yeah. That's interesting. So if people are looking to connect with you and find out more about your work, your book, and the work you do, and maybe become part of it, where do they go?
Lovemore.com, spelled Luvmor, and Lovemore, Love More by Lisa Garmon will pop up.
Very good.
And there you can buy my books, and you can contact me.
Great. Well, I encourage people to do that. You're a great writer. You write about really interesting things. You're so alive. If anyone's watching this, you should be going I want that. I want to feel that alive. I want to be that dynamically energetic and happy and laughing and so forth. Anything else you want to share before we go today?
Well, I want to share that this is a brand new industry and that we deserve, those of us who do this intense work, deserve to be paid well. We deserve to win climate awards. We deserve to be paid well by insurance companies and wealthy homeowners because we are doing serious work to save the planet. And like I said before, artificial intelligence, and one of my stock gurus said that predicts that there'll be 300,000 jobs lost worldwide from AI.
Mm-hmm.
Not if you're doing climate work, not if you're paid well, because you have to connect to spirit, and nothing artificial can connect to spirit.
Mm-hmm.
So artificial intelligence can never do this work. You must be human to do this work. And those are the industries that we need to be putting our attention on and focus on and money into. The money needs to go into the industries that cannot be taken over by AI.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of them.
Well, I'm curious just your comment about this. So basically, I believe everything in the universe is energy. Energy can be influenced by thought. Mm-hmm. So all of this climate stuff, wind and rain and water and heat and cold, it's energy. And you figured out how to influence that with thought connected to spirit. Yeah. And you're saying that homeowners and insurance companies will benefit by having people that can do that to avoid catastrophes and property loss and so forth and so on.
Yes.
Wow. This is great.
And the good thing about this is you only have to pay us if we're successful.
Okay.
So you can't lose.
Very good. So lovemore.com. Find out more about how to LUVMOR.com. Yeah, we'll put that up.
I saved $1,000 by changing that spelling.
There you go. There you go.
So that's why it's spelled differently from the book.
I get it. Well, thanks for joining us today, Lisa. This is a pleasure to have you here. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jack, for having me. It's been delightful. Yeah.
And thanks to all of you today for watching. Make sure to tune in again next week when I'll be talking with another powerful thought leader who will help you create a happier, more successful, and more fulfilling life. And until then, remember that the only things that truly change your life are the books you read, like the one she wrote, the people you meet, both virtually and in person, the decisions you make, and the actions you take. So if you were inspired today, make sure to reach out to her website, take some action. And until next time, I'm Jack Canfield. You've been watching Talking About Success. Thank you for watching this episode of Talking About Success. Remember, your success is a journey. So for more information and free resources to help you, be sure to visit jackcanfield.com/learn more.